All right, guys. Just want to start by talking about yesterday's incident, tragic incident that occurred on our campus. Fact that the Wildcat family lost a professor yesterday, Dr. Thomas Meixner, who is the department head of hydrology and atmospheric sciences. Our thoughts are with Dr. Meixner, his family, his friends, his colleagues, and students during this time. It's a horrific incident. Compassion is at the core of everything we do here in football and athletics, and we certainly understand and grieve with their family, and we encourage our Wildcat community to care for themselves and one another, and we will probably have a moment of silence on Saturday evening as we grieve the loss of one of our own. So a very tough time, very difficult situation, obviously, and our thoughts and prayers are with the professor's family.
Have you spoken with any of the players or have any of the players maybe expressed concern?
No, I've not heard from any of our players regarding that. We'll address it in our team meeting, and after that, we will move forward. But we'll discuss it, and if any of our players have any needs at all to see any mental health counselors, we have, in my opinion, 3 of the best that work with our players on a continuous basis, and Dr. Webb and Dr. Clark and Jenny will all be available to them.
Did you give any consideration to canceling practice yesterday, given everything that was going on campus?
No, at that point in time, we heard about an incident that was going on. We weren't really, we heard it was an isolated incident that was going on at a hall, let's say, our classroom. And we talked to our administration. We made sure that the building or that the practice facility was locked down. We had all the gates locked. We had extra security. And we felt it was the right thing to do at that point in time was to practice as long as we were in a secure environment.
So Oregon's got a lot of dudes on defense, as I'm sure you've seen on film, you experienced last year up there. What's your kind of scouting report on that side of the ball for them?
Yeah, I would say this about Oregon. Oregon has done an outstanding job over the last 5 or 6 years bringing in players. They have, I don't know, I think I saw like 53 4-star players, 7 5-star players or something to that effect, some very high numbers. I don't know exactly the numbers right now, but they've done a great job of bringing in a lot of players, and they're utilizing their strengths. They've certainly been in or have won the Pac-12 championship the last few years with a lot of great players. They're healthy, it seems to me, both at the linebacker position and the defensive line position, where they had a little bit of, Flo was dinged up, but he looks like he's going to be back from what I've read. Sewell, obviously, has been playing at a high level. I think they're number 3 and number 2, they're edge rushers. Dorless, I know, was recognized this past week as a Pac-12 player of the week. Are both outstanding, but they've got a great defense. They've got a very good offense, really on all phases. Oregon's a very good football team, very well coached. Coach Lanning has done a great job since he's arrived of getting those players to play at a very high level.
When you face a team that has a really good run defense, how do you balance wanting to run versus forcing the issue?
Yeah, we really believe in our system of offense, which is we're going to try to attack teams as often and as in many different ways as possible. And we're not going to get wrapped up in, let's call it, numbers of what do we need to call and when do we need to call it. We need to just find a way to be able to be balanced enough to get the ball in our playmakers' hands. I remember years ago, Mike Leach made a comment one time about balance, and he said, balance isn't run pass, it's how many touches your best players get. I think that there's a lot of value. I think that statement rings true. These guys are really good rush defense. A lot of times, statistics are skewed based on how many times are they defending the pass, how many times are they defending the run. Same with us. So we just have to really move the ball any way we possibly can because we know it's going to be a great challenge.
Both of your losses, a lot of the turnovers have come after while you're trailing, and there's been talk of maybe forcing things and all that. What is the mindset then if you get into that situation where you have to play from behind?
Yeah, I think that the 3 games we won, we had 1 turnover. In the 2 games that we've lost, I think it was 6, and maybe 3 or 4 of them came in the fourth quarter. It's one of those weird situations that's kind of normal when you're down by more than a score. If you're down by a score, you can't really force the ball. But when you're down by 2, or at some of those situations, I think we were down 11 and then 18 against Cal, when those 2 interceptions came. There's just no need for them. The idea is just the best chance you have to get back into the game is to complete the pass to your team. And the best chance is not to, the 1 sack fumble was kind of, that's a tough one to control. Those things happen sometimes. But the other ones, we just continue to talk about it and we continue to protect the ball. And regardless of the score of the game, we want to try to always make sure that we're in control of when that ball goes to the other team. And Jaden has done a really, really good job of it. I believe last week, obviously, he did a great job against North Dakota State, and we're going to have that type of game this week.
How can your defense build off of last week's performance against the run, against a very good running team?
Yeah, I think each week we're going to have to treat it as a separate entity. I'm not exactly sure if we can really say that because we did a good job, for the most part, tackling, that therefore we'll continue to do that. What our guys need to do is just continue to practice well. I think if you practice well, then you should play better. I felt this week was a very good week of practice so far. Sunday night, there was a lot of energy and enthusiasm out on that field. A lot of times that does happen after a victory. And then Tuesday, Wednesday was a very disciplined, determined football team. A team that's excited about the great challenge that's ahead of us. We recognize how good Oregon is, and we're gonna do our best to fight, scrap, claw, and play our best game.
What have you heard in terms of attendance this weekend?
Right now, I was told that we are at 50,000 tickets sold. We have 800 tickets left to sell. And then it'll be the first sellout. They just told me since September 26, 2015. So the last sellout came against UCLA, and we're awfully excited about the chance to sell these 800. We've averaged about 1,300 tickets a day the last 3 days of being sold.
Now, obviously, opponent helps, but what does it say about selling out a game and just kind of the trajectory of the program right now?
Well, we're excited. I hope our students come in masses. I want to make that stadium like a bunch of sardines. Let's see how many we can squeeze in. But I hope our students come out in masses. But, as we're building the program and as we're trying to get to where we one day want to be, we need these type moments where our stadium gets full for a great game and then know their next home game is against SC. And can they continue to have that mentality and just keep supporting us as we're building, knowing that there's ebbs and flows of everything. But the energy, the excitement around our program right now is at a good place. Hopefully that will continue with recruiting. Hopefully we'll continue to get good players in here, good players that want to be here, stay here, improve here. And then hopefully as the years, games, weeks, whatever it might be, continue, we'll be able to make sellouts a commonplace.
A lot of transfer quarterbacks across the country. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's working out for you guys. Seems like it's working out for Oregon as well. What do you see when we look at Bo Nix?
Yeah, I remember Bo Nix coming out. I don't even know where I was. Maybe UCLA. Maybe I just remember him from Les Snead, who is our general manager of the Rams, is an Auburn grad. And his I think college roommate was Bo Nix's dad. So maybe that's where I remember him from. But I certainly have seen a lot of Bo Nix in my life. I remember him being on the screen after beating Alabama, doing an interview. And he certainly is doing a really good job this year. It looks as if, an 80-yard scramble, that's a long scramble. And so his athleticism is showing up. one of the biggest things that we've talked about in this room is that if you get about 40 or 50 yards from your quarterback, that's how you have one of those top 25 rushing attacks. It seems to me that they'll be getting more than that from him. So when your quarterback can provide for you that much yardage, then your running backs are getting 150, quarterbacks getting 50, or running backs getting 175, quarterbacks getting 50 or 60. That's how you end up being a top 10 rushing team, which I believe they're ninth or something like that, first in the Pac-12 and first or second. So I think that's where Bo's showing up. And then you look at some of his passing game. He's 70%, 68% in a couple of these games. He's made some great plays, made some big-time throws against Washington State in a situation where they were down and didn't flinch. So I know he's going to be a great challenge for us.
Is the key then to try to keep him in the pocket?
The key is to tackle. The key is to tackle. So if he's out of the pocket, we got to tackle him. If he's in the pocket, we got to pressure him. And if they're handing the ball off, or if they're having some quarterback runs, we can't let those turn into explosives. It has to be a game of tackling this week, and it starts with tackling the quarterback.
Can you talk about Oregon's offensive line? Because not only are they really good at the run, but they've been protecting the quarterback as well this season.
Yeah, one of those things that come into the protecting of the quarterback is the quarterback's athleticism and the quarterback's ability to get the ball out of his hands and the quarterback's ability to move. He's all of those things. I think the offensive line, there are a bunch of very, very highly recruited, highly touted players. All of their offensive linemen were 4- and 5-star players. They've all been recruited to a system where they knew their last head coach was an O-line coach by trade. So they've been known to be really in the trenches. That's something that's been very important to them. And then I think Adrian Clem has done a really good job with this offensive line. Came from the NFL, understands NFL protections, run game, and you could see it showing up.
Jed, you talked about the process quite a bit, so this is for you. Since you've been here, you've gone out and tried to promote Arizona football. You went to the fraternity houses, you went and talked to student groups, alumni groups, trusting the process. Now that you're about to have first sellout, how rewarding is that for you and for the folks that are coming out here first sellout in a long time? What kind of difference can they make in this game for you on the field against Oregon?
Yeah, well, to me, it's about our players. It's amazing for our players to be able to run out of the tunnel to a full house. They work extremely hard. Our players, our coaches, our assistant coaches, those guys are committed to trying to turn Arizona football around and to do everything they possibly can to build this program into what we want it to be. Our student body wants a great product, a good product, a great game, opportunities to cheer on a program that is moving in the right direction. It's awesome that they're joining, and I think the Zona Zoo has been phenomenal this year. The community of Tucson, the fact that they're coming to watch us play and cheer us on is awesome. And all of that is a credit to the way our players are playing. The fact that Jaden DeLaura chose to come to Arizona. The fact that Jacob Cowling chose to come to Arizona. The fact that Christian Young and Jackson Turner and Christian Roland Wallace and Keon Bars decided to return to Arizona and not walk away when there was adversity. All of those things, and so many other players. The fact that T-Mac chose to be a Wildcat, and Noah Fafita, and Dorian Singer, and so on and so forth, and all these guys that wanted to join our program. It's great to see that they're being rewarded for their hard work, and it's a lot of fun with that Wildcat Walk if we can absolutely pack the streets and pack the stadium.
And the advantage of having that crowd on the
Well, there's always, a home field advantage is home field advantage, and energy and enthusiasm that the crowd brings is something that our players will embrace. And, at some point in time, the players play, right? I was actually listening to Jay Wright's book on my way in today called Attitude. And in that book, he says, as the coach, you just say, don't worry about where we play. Don't worry about the stadium if it's empty or full. Let's just take care of our business on the court. But as the basketball CEO, as he said, the greatest thing in the world is a full house. The greatest thing that your kids want to be able to play in front of a full packed house. The opportunity to perform, the opportunity to be cheered on, the opportunity for these fans to celebrate with you. And as I was listening to that chapter called Beyond Basketball this morning, it rang true.
When we asked about Jackson and Tia earlier in the week, you had sort of a prognosis, but you all wanted to see practice unfold a little bit. Any update on?
Yeah, Jackson had a great practice yesterday, so I'm under the impression Jackson will play. Jackson took every rep that we needed with the ones. Tia is still day-to-day progress, so we're gonna have to see how he does today. But yeah, Jackson Turner is gonna play in the game. Thank you.